Hello there, RPG lovers, and welcome to another video. Enshrouded is a survival action RPG that you can play in single player or in co-op with up to 16 players. The game just got the last massive update before 1.0 release. It's called Update 8 and it touched upon a lot of important features in the game. Things like combat, skills, UI, and adventure sharing feature. In this video, I'm going to showcase all of these major updates and talk a little bit about the game in general. It should help you understand what Update 8 is all about and what you can expect to experience if you wanna jump back into the game or try it out for the first time. Huge thanks to Keen Games and Enshrouded for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to check out the link in the video description if you want to check out Enshrouded. I wanna start by talking about all major combat changes and the skill tree, because this is easily my favorite part about these updates. Keen Games addressed some of the criticism about the floaty feeling of the combats. They introduced brand new mechanics, skills, and reworked the movesets for certain weapon types. So no matter which weapon type you prefer to use, you'll get more options in combat and it should feel more impactful compared to previous versions of the game. Heavy attacks are a brand new addition to the combat system. You can perform heavy attacks with most weapon types by simply holding the attack button. It deals more damage than regular attacks, obviously, but it also gives you stagger immunity against smaller enemies. It can be a high risk, high reward attack that I like to abuse, but it can be very easy to get hit while fighting larger groups of enemies. Still though, that didn't stop me from spamming heavy attacks quite a bit while checking out these updates. I love using two-handed weapons in games, as you probably know, and it feels pretty damn good using heavy attacks with these weapons. Speaking of two-handed weapons in the game, they completely reworked the movesets, meaning that greatswords now have horizontal attacks, while great axe and hammers have diagonal attacks. But what's way more interesting are the brand new weapon skills. Each weapon type in the game now has a special powerful skill that you can use when the certain requirement is reached. That requirement is a new bar that you have to fill up with your attacks in combat. And once the bar is filled up, you can use a special attack regardless of the weapon type. All weapon types have different special attacks and animations, and I think my favorite so far is the one with the hammer. It's a big jumping attack that feels very cool to use, and it's mostly useful for single target damage. Two-handed swords have a very cool spinning attack that's way more useful for AoE damage, and here are a couple of more special attacks from other weapon types. What's really cool about the special attack is that you can switch weapons. For example, you can use the bow to fill up the bar, and if you want to use another special attack from a different weapon type, you can just switch to it and trigger the attack. In other words, the bar filling process is shared across all weapons, you don't lose it if you switch your weapon and you can choose which special attack to use. It's a very flexible mechanic. Special attacks, along with new heavy attacks, gave Enshrouded's combat a much needed variety, and these new additions to the combat improved the sense of impact quite a bit. Now let's take a look under the hood of this system, or the skill tree to be more specific. Update 8 brought some major changes to the entire skill tree. First of all, it's much easier to see the entire skill tree now because of the new zoom in, zoom out feature. Yeah, you can finally zoom out enough to see the majority of the skill tree. The entire skill tree has a brand new layout and new visuals. The branches have been rearranged to reduce the number of nodes required to reach out outer areas of the tree. So now it's much easier to reach special skills for all classes. Speaking of which, the new changes should make it easier to create synergies between classes. A lot of the skills you can get now can be improved by putting more points into them. They also added some new skills and changed how some old skills work. For example, the dodge ability has been changed in a couple of different ways. Now we have iframes for this mechanic, which was a highly requested feature from the community. iframes or invincibility frames allow you to completely ignore the incoming damage if you time your dodges properly. Even though it can be really helpful, it doesn't exactly make the combat way easier. You can still easily get hit if you put your guard down, especially against multiple enemies. And if you want to roll around enemies like before, you have to unlock a special skill in the tree. I prefer more flexibility when it comes to rolling around, and I don't like using target lock in general, so I didn't use this skill. Double jump is much easier to get now because it's closer to the center of the skill tree. This is one of my most favorite skills in general, and I like using it a lot, in and out of combats. Some airborne skills are easier to trigger now, like the upward slash and crash down. I use crash down quite a bit, especially with the double jump, so this is a great change. If you like to be stealthy in games or play as an assassin, there is something for you in this update as well. They changed how the aggro is triggered and the target selection for the enemy AI in order to make the stealth playthrough more viable. Now it's much easier to sneak around and perform stealth attacks, but this is only the first improvement related to this mechanic. They plan to work a lot more on stealth gameplay in future updates, which is great news for people who prefer playing the game like that. However, I'm not about that life. I prefer bonking people with a big weapon. I really enjoyed using the parry mechanic and merciless attack, which is like a counter attack after a successful parry. All of these features and mechanics feel a lot better and more impactful in the newest updates. Combined with those brand new attacks, the combat in Enshrouded really never felt better and more varied. One really important thing to know about the skill tree and this new update in general is that your skill points will reset once you come back to your existing character. I mean, this makes sense because these changes to the skills and the tree are massive. And if you're a returning player, just don't forget to invest your skills once again. Now let's move on to some other major features from this new update. Adventure sharing is a pretty cool feature in Enshrouded. It allows you to check out what other players have built within their version of Embervale. The main menu has been reworked with an additional new adventure sharing menu. You can now download any world that might seem interesting to you and take a closer look when exploring it. To complement this feature, they also added a craftable camera item that lets you make in-game screenshots of your base to highlight why other players should check out your world. You can check out these pictures before you download the world from other players. And what's even more important, you can take screenshots while exploring players' maps with the same camera. Then we have a bunch of changes related to equipment. Armors, shields, wards and rings can now be upgraded with runes. And your existing armor has been converted into upgradable versions. Speaking of runes, there is a cool little feature that allows you to recycle items into runes. Item perks have been reintroduced and they should scale better with levels now. Armor points have been rebalanced. All items will start off with less armor points in general, but when you get to upgrade them, you'll get more physical and magical armor. There are some smaller tweaks within this patch which are still worth mentioning. Guys from Keen Games talked about warping, a mechanic that allowed the player to close the gap between them and the enemy very fast. The combat in Update 8 works a little bit different now, especially with all the new features and rebalanced mechanics, so this has been removed. Your character will no longer instantly close the gap in the middle of the attack, so the positioning matters a lot more now. I think it makes sense because now the game gives you more options in combat that you can use to your advantage. Things like heavy attacks and those new weapon abilities we talked about. However, warping is not completely gone, because fighting against flying enemies would be much harder without it. Casting magic and just using your attacks close to the ledge is much safer now in the newest updates. And they also mentioned that future updates for Enshrouded should bring a lot more improvements to mage playstyles in general. And those will be all the major and some minor changes in the latest update for Enshrouded. I really hope this video was useful and that you learned everything you need to know about Update 8. This video was sponsored by Keen Games, so once again huge thanks to them for reaching out to the channel and sponsoring the video. However, I plan to check out the full game when it comes out and make a review about it, so stick around for that. And don't forget to check out the link in the video description if you want to check out Enshrouded. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. And if you want to go a step further, consider supporting your boy by becoming a YouTube channel member or a Patreon. Huge thanks to all my current supporters, and I'll see ya in the next one.